Hi, I hope you're having a lovely week. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I hope you've been getting crafty. Just let me adjust that camera a little bit because it's not quite straight. I have been doing a little series called Mini Masterpieces, and that gave me the idea to get a room box, art gallery or museum. So I had a think, and my kind of favourite art galleries and museums that spring to my mind are all like of a very similar architectural type. You really elaborate, traditional, you know, they look like an institution as well as a museum. And I also thought that nowadays there's an awful lot of wonderful history and conservation work that's going on. There's also a lot of historical issues and societal issues that we've got to reflect upon and apologise for and reparation for. I try my best not to be political here. It's very difficult in life to not be, because politics affects everything, especially with the world as it is today. So I don't want to come across as ignoring that side, but I also appreciate that people are coming to my channel for arts and crafts and a lighter, easier time. So I thought, rather than go for a museum that goes for a real collection, I'd go for a pretend museum in a pretend little town that doesn't exist in the UK. And it's got that distance of being completely made up. I've got to touch on things that's history, but I won't lecture and I won't dwell, but I will be respectful. So my room box came, I gave it a base coat of paint and then assembled it with wood glue. And then today I've cheated a little bit because my maths is horrendous. I have dyscalculia, so it's not just measure twice and cut once, it's measure twice, cut once, silently scream, measure again, start again, and hope for the best and keep taking some off until it fits. So for this project, because I'm also getting used to woodwork, I really didn't do well at woodwork at school, and my confidence has suffered from certain things that were said, that I can now look back and know was undiagnosed neurodivergence, and to find workarounds. So this time I've done the extra woodwork before we paint them, just because I wanted to get to a standard of woodwork where if I was putting it on YouTube, I don't do anything like really unsafe or terrible. I think the next time I do a woodwork project, I would do it on camera if you guys were interested. So I based the exterior loosely on the Lady Lever Gallery in Port Sunlight. If you haven't been, it's on the Wirral, and it's a lovely village, and it was one of those villages built by an employer, and it's a fascinating place and it's gorgeous. And then this Lady Lever art gallery was where the family bequeathed a collection that is still being shown today. I'll put an inset picture. It's not my photo, it's National Museums Liverpool's photo, so I have put photo credit on it on the image, just to give you an idea. But I've gone for pillars, like balustrades, banisters, fancy doors. I wanted Gothic doors, but I can't do curves yet. A sign, steps. Here's going to be a big notice board of what's going to be on at the museum. Now inside, I'm going to base this on a room that I love in the Walker Art Gallery. So when we get to the interior, I'll put a photo of that as an inset. And that photo is also from National Museums Liverpool. Okie dokie. So let's get this show on the road and let's make Littleville's museum. So at the moment, interior's almost done. I'm gonna paint the skirting boards. I'm not sure about the floor yet. I've just gone plain red initially for the walls. I've got on order some wooden plinths from Dollhouse Direct because they looked a bit more professional and a nice finish. So they can be for display cases and sculptures and things. So I was going to make seating benches like they have in the Walker, but I want to see how big the plinths are in the room first. Because, like I say, measuring is not my forte. And then I have wood to make picture frames, but I've also got a resin mould coming, so I can experiment with resin, which we haven't done before, to frame the paintings, our mini masterpieces. And I have an idea for some miniature ceramics. So we're going to go fancy pants gold very carefully, so as not to undo everything that I've already done. Again, I would have painted these in before, but I wanted to do the woodwork before putting the camera on in case I did something silly or I said something unbecoming. Because sometimes you can get a little bit frustrated, can't you, with things that aren't what you're used to. I have really enjoyed putting this room box together, and I like to think that rather than just fill the museum once, it could be something periodically that we do again. If we do more mini paintings, if we do some mini ceramics, if we see anything that inspires an idea. Very plain skirting boards in this one because I ran out of my usual skirting board. That's why I've used the skirting board to help me in the exterior, because there wasn't enough of it to do the interior, so I used it on there. I got some offcuts of skirting board and cornice. I think in America they're called baseboards and crown moulding, I think. Yeah, I've got a view of paintings, artifacts, sculptures, some seating if I can fit it in. So, work in progress. I shall see once the postman's been. I'd definitely make my life easier by painting the bits before sticking them on. However, for filming, I wanted to get the woodwork done. Just because I'm at the very early stages of getting back into woodwork, and I wasn't really confident that I'd do it the safest and best way for YouTube, because I don't want anybody having an accident because they've watched my videos because I care about people. But I'm really pleased with how the exterior's come out. There were a few trust the process moments. And it is simple, but it only has to be simple because it's the exterior of the room box, and we're going to be focusing on the interior. But we can still customise the notice board and things at different times of year. Maybe even work on some plants to go along here, maybe in the future, maybe some stair rails, things like that. Again, though, this can be something that gets added. I mean, maybe even gargoyles. Love a gargoyle. Or a clock. Love a clock too. Well, plenty of ideas. What's your favourite art gallery or museum? I'd love to know. Stay safe, stay kind, and have a wonderful week. See you soon. So, we have some plinths to put displays on. We have our latest mini masterpieces. We have extra frames for extra mini masterpieces. And I've not permanently stuck those on, so I can change the art as we create more art over time or do something seasonal. The beauty is now, though, that I've got the aperture size of the frame, so I can make it, fit the aperture better. I was mucking about with terracotta clay, so I thought I would make a very rudimentary flat-bottomed amphora type thingamajig as our first artifact. So yeah, Littleville has a functional museum for our mini masterpieces and any artifacts or anything we get inspired with as we go along. I'm fascinated by history, so I love stuff like that. So it's officially open. Ta-da! Thank you so much for watching.